Take a look at these two mushrooms. One harbors a deadly secret, a poison that will claim your life with a mere taste, the Amanita ocreata, also known as the Angel of Death. The other mushroom has been given the nickname the Golden Teacher, and for good reason. This mushroom, the Psilocybe cubensis, unlocks the doors to unseen realms, guiding seekers through the depths of the mind and the mysteries of consciousness. And recently it's gained attention for its promising role in treating mental health issues like PTSD, offering a glimpse of hope where conventional therapies fall short. Yet, if you were stopped by the police, which of these two mushrooms would you rather have in your pocket? The one that can kill or the one that can enlighten? A curious shield stands bravely protecting all of us from plants and mushrooms that can unlock the doors to perception and self-discovery. Yet, no such barricade exists to protect us from those that are lethally poisonous. Is that not peculiar? In a world that so often prides itself on protection and safety, our collective caution seems misplaced, focusing on the potential for enlightenment rather than the clear and present danger of death. Clearly, the mind-expanding plants and mushrooms are deemed far more dangerous than their lethally poisonous counterparts. But who is truly in danger here? And who stands to benefit from prohibiting us from a direct experience with the divine, other than institutions built on a foundation of faith? The natural avenues to divine experiences, once treasured by ancient civilizations, became seen as threats to established power structures. Yet, as we peel back the layers of history, we uncover not just a lost spiritual tradition, but also a story of power, control, and the reshaping of belief systems by those in authority. Specifically, the Catholic Church, with its aspirations of a global religion, embarked on a mission to unite the world beneath a sheltering canopy of faith rather than experience. And this faith-based tapestry was woven with the threads of local customs and traditions. This strategy, known as syncretism, was not about fostering a genuine dialogue between diverse spiritual practices. Instead, it aimed to assimilate and transition various communities into Christianity, not as a respectful exchange of ideas, but as architects crafting a grand design, intent on constructing a monolithic faith that would overshadow the direct personal encounters with the divine offered by nature's own sacraments. This quickly took a dark turn. The teachers of local customs and religions were silenced through brutality, their sacred texts and libraries consumed by flames. History, stained with instances of religious persecution and violence, bears witness to the Inquisitions and the often brutal tactics employed. Through this destruction and subjugation, the notion of a one-world religion emerges as a character donning the cloak of cultural imperialism. Yet what adds a twist of audacity to this historical tale is the bold title adopted by the architects of assimilation: the Catholic Church. Simply put, the word Catholic means universal. The Universal Church, with its grandiose aspirations, embarked on a journey of incorporating elements from diverse cultures, like a chef blending ingredients from around the world to create a singular, complex dish. The only dish allowed at the global table, dictating a universal palate in an audacious bid for spiritual monopoly. Like a wolf in sheep's ecclesiastical clothing, these architects of assimilation not only borrowed, but brazenly obliterated any lingering traces of the cultures from which they found. In the case of the Catholic Church, the outcome presents a somber reflection. In the grand drama of cultural preservation versus obliteration, it would seem as though the wrong side won. In our current times, Whether you refer to it as cultural appropriation or cultural appreciation, there's no denying that there is a rising tide of voices standing up against it. And alongside those voices is the removal of various books with controversial themes or perspectives from public access. If it weren't so appalling, the irony would be laughable. Consider the paradox of an institution rooted in text with narratives of violence, a history tainted by cultural appropriation, imperialism, and even the direct involvement in atrocities such as the genocide in Rwanda. The Catholic Church, whose legacy is a complex tapestry of spiritual guidance entwined with unspeakable crimes, including heinous acts against children, casts a profound shadow over its moral authority. This backdrop highlights a stark contradiction. How can a faith so deeply marred by moral failings continue to find acceptance or tolerance in a society that readily censors literature or even cancels comedians for far less severe infractions? Books like To Kill a Mockingbird, The Color Purple, Of Mice and Men, Huck Finn, 1984, The Catcher in the Rye, and A Brave New World have all faced scrutiny from cancel culture for various reasons. However, despite its deeply troubled history, the Catholic Church continues to enjoy public approval. In the cruel aftermath of Christianity's expansion, the ripple effects reached far beyond the realms of culture and tradition, seeping into the sacred territories of shamanism. In this insidious narrative, the rich tapestry of shamanic wisdom was unraveling, leaving behind the tattered remains of a once thriving tradition. All the while, the Church appropriated the concept of the shamanic sacred meal, replacing the profound, direct experience it provided with a mundane cracker and a reliance on blind faith in their institution. As the flames of religious zeal consumed the sanctuaries of diverse cultures, shamans found themselves at the forefront of a silent war, which to them felt more like an extermination. The legacy of shamanism, intertwined with the very essence of indigenous communities, suffered under the weight of a religious juggernaut that sought to not only conquer, but to erase every vestige of spiritual diversity. In this disturbing dance between Christianity's ascension and the suppression of shamanic practices, a haunting chapter unfolded, a chapter stained with the ink of intolerance and cultural erasure. The key to unshackle these bonds, to unleash the potential of our being, whisper in the silent language of the Golden Teacher, yearning to manifest our minds and guide us beyond the veils, into the boundless exploration of our own consciousness. The widespread yet unrecognized role of psychedelic substances in shaping the profound insights and spiritual practices of entire civilizations highlights a significant oversight in our modern understanding of history and religion. This suggests that we have been reading religion and history through a narrow lens, unaware of the full spectrum of influences that once shaped both domains. These profound psychedelic experiences were, at one point in our history, quite common. When we started to substitute such a unique experience with a placebo, the ritual started to outweigh the reality. The truth became a myth, and the myth became accepted as truth. And this removal of sacred plants and mushrooms allowed others to act as mediators between us and the divine. We don't need a mediator. We don't need someone to tell us that the way to experience the divine is to just have faith in their institution. To think that someone out there has the answers and that it's our job to simply trust and believe, to me, that's the ultimate con game. What's the point in believing something when each and every one of us can hold it in our hands and experience it? Now, this is where things take an intriguing turn, aligning with my research in the history of sacred plants. I'm fascinated by the ubiquity of a sacred meal, a common thread woven throughout nearly every mystery institution and ancient religion spanning all throughout time. However, it's important to remember that when compared to its original purpose and potency, today's practiced sacred meal with the Eucharist reveals itself as nothing more than a placebo, a mere shadow of its former significance. When a group of individuals assumes authority over another's birthright, their innate connection with their own higher consciousness, we enter the realm of religious control, a realm that actually bears the markings of mind control. The deliberate concealment of the secret that such a powerful spiritual link to the deeper realms of our consciousness through psychedelics has been diluted to a symbolic placebo demands immediate attention. Considering the turbulent times we live in, rekindling this profound connection is more crucial than ever before. This hijacking of our connection to the higher echelons of consciousness took on a paramount importance during an era when a single religious institution sought to establish a monopoly on all matters of spirituality, replacing a direct experience of divinity with a symbolic Christian symbol like the Eucharist. The tangible, immediate effects of these sacred plants and mushrooms were replaced by the symbolic ingestion of bread and a sip of wine, transforming direct spiritual connections to ones rooted in faith and symbolism. The utilization of these sacred plants, regarded as pathways to immediate spiritual revelations, presented a challenge to the religious authorities. The prospect of individuals having direct access to their spiritual experiences threatened the centralized control of these authorities, placing spiritual power directly in the hands of the individual. The consequence of depriving individuals of these sacred plants and mushrooms is now becoming more clear than ever. We've become detached from our spiritual compass. The key to rediscovering our path lies not in the hands of institutions, but within the ancient wisdom of the earth itself, whispered through the leaves and echoed in the silent teachings of the sacred plants and mushrooms. As we stand at the crossroads of experience and faith, it's time to choose the path that leads to the direct encounter with the divine over the shadowy path of dogma, to reconnect with the universe around us and within us.